When I was younger, I understood my heritage through my white adopted parents' eyes, and it wasn't a good image. And in the town I was living in, there's a very unique sound to the wind. And I now think that on that wind were my ancestors speaking to me, and they were the ones that gave me the strength to survive abuse and ridicule. My story and the stories of other 60 Scoop survivors of kids being taken away and given away, it's not just an Indigenous story, it's a world story that needs to be told.
We feel really alone, right? Because we don't really feel like we fit in with our biological family. And we don't really fit in with our adoptive family, so we're kind of caught between both because we have this internalized thing where we grew up white, so our worldview is very different. So we struggle with like, where do we fit in? And one of my things was like, will people know that I'm not Native? Even though I look Native, I always forget. I would forget that I was Native. So it's been a long healing journey for a lot of us to get to the point where we're like okay to just be an adoptee, you know, and then find others like us. It's taken our whole lives to get to this point.
I started remembering my childhood, and I started having emotions from my childhood that weren't there before. And it took a long time. It took about 15 years to completely resolve what had happened. I was diagnosed with borderline personality disorder, post-traumatic stress disorder complex, mood disorder, major depression, generalized anxiety disorder. And over the past few years, I've put that all behind me. I found a psychiatrist and basically demanded that she let me talk. And through all of that, I was able to find my strength again. Since then, I've been able to adopt some First Nations traditions into my life and find my roots again, so that really helps too. And I'm just moving forward with my life. It's sort of like I took a break from living, healed my child inside me, and kept on going.
This stuff happened for a reason. I still don't understand why, but my reasoning behind it, the way I'm thinking is, I need to teach other people about this. I need to teach other Aboriginal women, you know, how to be strong, how to pull yourself up out of the suffering that's have happened to you. That's why I'm here today, to help others and to get my story out there, you know. Lots of people have been in my situation and they don't share their story. They're afraid. And it's fear that keeps that hidden. Well, I had to get rid of that fear so I can open up and share my story with my family and my community in Magnetowan First Nation. I've shared all my stories with them.
You know, I was always thought that Native people were lazy and on welfare and drunks and so forth. That's what I grew up believing. But learning the history of this country and learning more about what happened from the residential schools to what we're dealing with now with the 60s Scoop has opened up my eyes. And I think that's the most important thing that we need to start doing is more education and educating government and educating Canadians and educating our own communities about what's going on. Let's talk about the treaties and the agreements, and let's look at those and implement those, and let the Indigenous people return back to the way that they live and the way that they think, and let's honor those. We're ready to reconcile. Aboriginal people have always been that way. We want to work together, but I haven't heard any signals, and I'm waiting.
I had an amazing, wonderful childhood. My adopted mother is super positive and encourages me. She knows that I come to these gatherings, and like I understood adoption right from day one. I grew up with the feeling to have love towards my birth mother and to respect her, that she made that decision out of love. This is a miracle that this gathering has come to be. For the first time meeting other adoptees, it was like I was in a room with people that I didn't have to even talk to or really share, because I got this feeling that when we looked at each other, we just had to nod and be like, yeah, I understand. It was magical. It was like, wow, I found people like me.